So far, it's just us. 2 minutes, and then we'll get started. Yeah, I can, you know what, Preeta, I can actually stay like this because I'm really not going to be saying much or doing much. So if the sound this way, that works for me, fine.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, 208. Awesome. Perfect. 209. Let's see. Again. Boom. Let's do it. Okay. Everyone, welcome to the fourth installment of what I like to call the Lost Tapes. We did the top national and public universities last year. Of course, they were stored on a cloud I think it was when we switched over from Panopto. So we lost 10 of the 25 universities that we did last year. This year was supposed to be strictly liberal arts colleges, but because we wanted to retrace our tracks and make sure we had these universities because they're awfully popular amongst Harvard-Westlake students and families, we're going to backtrack. So this is the fourth one we did. We redid Harvard, we redid Princeton, we just redid Columbia on Monday, and now it's Wednesday and we've got Cornell, and we've got some usual suspects from last year. Pretha Jobrani from our advancement office, a star in the advancement office and a Cornell alum, has agreed to moderate again. Zion Otano is back, volunteering his time. We've got Demi Lavapies, who wanted to do it last year but couldn't, and of course our Tess Rosenfeld, freshman at Cornell, is going to join us. With that being said, I've already said too much. Pretha, it's your show.
Thank you so much, Quasi, and thank you all for being here today. So excited to share our experiences and hear from our panel about what Cornell is to them and what makes it so great. My name is Pretha Jobrani. I graduated from Cornell's College of Ag and Life Sciences in 1994. Like probably so many of you, I went through a bunch of different majors, starting with pre-med before ending with economics and communications. I then went on to NYU Law School, worked at a big law firm in Los Angeles, and then transitioned over to the business side, working in hotel development with Hilton Hotels Corporation and launching their Waldorf Astoria brand. And the last 2 years, I've been at Harvard-Westlake working in advancement. So there's so many different ways to take your career. And I'd love to hear from each of you a bit about which year you are at Cornell, which college you're in, and which major you're studying. Was Cornell your ED choice? And if so, why? So Tess, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So I'm a freshman at Cornell. I'm studying government in the College of Arts and Sciences. And I am doing minors in Asian Studies and Business. Cornell was my ED choice, so I got in last December, and it was the right choice for me because there's so much breadth and depth is how I like to think about it. So there's so many different offerings, but you can get really deep in each of those offerings. And just like how amazing the professors are, but also how many different subjects there are to study.
Fantastic. And Demi?
Hi everyone. I'm a sophomore in arts and sciences as well. I applied to Cornell early decision. I was deferred and then I got accepted in the regular decision round. I applied as art history and Near East studies, and I've since changed it around a little bit. I'm now a history major, doing minors in international relations, Arabic, and law and society. Um, and Cornell was my top choice because I asked my dean what the best school I could get into would be with like a reasonable chance for Edie, and she said Cornell. So that is why I applied. And since then, I've been very grateful that that choice was made by me, because I wasn't necessarily sure what I wanted to study. And as Tess mentioned, there are so many things that you can do at Cornell, and even just within arts and sciences, there are so many majors and so many minor options. So I was very lucky.
Demi, I'm so glad Cornell made the right choice in the end and that you're there. I'm sure that you're loving it and seeing all the options. Zion, how about you?
I'm currently a sophomore at Cornell. I early decisioned here because it was my first choice. I always wanted to go to Cornell since like I came to Harvard-Westlake. I'm in the hotel school and my major is hospitality with a minor in real estate finance. And I chose Cornell specifically because it's the best at hospitality and I wanted to go to the best school for what I wanted to learn. I mean, since coming, I've kind of learned that I think hospitality and doing that sort of line of work would have worked out wherever I went to school, just because of how committed I was to it, and that Cornell hasn't really like brought anything out of me that I needed. Like it's definitely instilled a better work ethic and has let me connect with certain people that are very high up in the industry, and it's given me a lot of great opportunities, but I wouldn't say that it's necessary to do what I want to do.
That's so interesting, Zion, because I know having, being an alum and having a lot of hotel-y friends that the hotel school network is, like, as you said, incredible. So that as you, I think, proceed through the hotel school, you're going to really find that. But you know what? Your personality is so outstanding and shines. And I remember you from last year, and I was like, this guy's a winner, no matter where he goes. So I get that. How about for Demi and Tess? It seems like you could have gone to different colleges with the original major, maybe not with arts, but say like with government or international relations. How did you pick which college to go to? For example, you could have gone to Brooks instead of arts and sciences. Was there any thought around that? There are 9 colleges at Cornell, as many of you know, so a lot of to choose from.
Um,
Um,
oh, sorry. Um, For international relations, I think it's helpful to say that there is no major for IR at Cornell. There is the Einaudi Center. That's where international relations is run through. And there are several other programs there, like the Peace and Conflict Studies and the Latin American and Southeast Asian programs. And those are minors. And so I chose arts and sciences above Brooks because Brooks is a much narrower department in school, and they have the public policy major. And arts and sciences has government and history, Near East studies. I think China East Asian studies is also through arts and sciences. So there were just more options that I wasn't necessarily sure that I wanted to commit myself to like public policy or industrial labor relations. So those are more specific.
That's very helpful. And Tess, how about you?
so I actually came in intending to be a China and Asia Pacific Studies major. It's a very small major. Um, it's called the Levinson program in China and Asia Pacific Studies, and it's housed within the College of Arts and Sciences. So there's certain majors that are only in certain colleges, and that was what I focused on all of high school was that particular region of the world, and that was something I wanted to continue doing in college. And I did change my plans up a little bit once I got here, just because of some of like the major requirements, but I'm still taking a lot of the classes that are only offered in the College of Arts and Sciences that are technically government classes, but they're a little bit more geared towards East Asia. I couldn't have taken those classes with such strict requirements in the Brooks School or in
That's
IELTS.
interesting. That's great. So I'd like to hear now, thank you, Tess. I'd like to kind of transfer over to what the three of you did during your time at Harvard-Westlake and how you honed your different interests and activities in school, outside of school. Zion, for example, I know that while you've been at Cornell, you've done some incredible things over the summer in hospitality with Harvard-Westlake alum, right? Am I right?
Yeah, this most recent summer, I had a great opportunity to work for John Terzian at HW, who's a Harvard-Westlake alum. And I did marketing for the company, which was an amazing opportunity. I got to work at 8 different venues and also the corporate office. And I got to see a lot of cool things and work with a lot of great people. And I think the I won't say the main reason, but the reason that I was able to get in the door was because of Harvard-Westlake and also because of Cornell, surprisingly, because the same people that run the company also have spoken at Cornell, a part of at this club that I'm a part of called the Cornell Nightlife Hospitality Club, which I'm actually about to be the president of, which is a great opportunity and super fun.
Fantastic.
But
That's
yeah,
excellent.
it was amazing.
Can you tell us, so then your summers, and I want to follow up with the others as well, about your summers during your sophomore summer, your junior summer? Did you have experience in that area so that when you applied, you could show your specialty or depth of interest?
Yeah, so every summer leading up to me getting into Cornell sort of painted a picture that I wanted to go to the hotel school, which I think helped me get in. My sophomore summer, I worked at a culinary school teaching ex-convicts how to cook and then helped place them into jobs at like Dodger Stadium, USC dining halls, and a ton of different places all around LA, which was a great opportunity. And then my junior year summer, I worked at Spago, which is a restaurant in Beverly Hills owned by Wolfgang Puck. And I got to learn a lot there as well. I did a little bit of back of house, a little front of house. And it was an awesome opportunity to see how all the different functions of a restaurant operate together and kind of understand the financials, a little bit about like employment, how you schedule people, how you fire people, how you like, I don't know, it was a great opportunity. And I think that taught me a lot. And also it helped me a lot to get into the hotel school. Like, my application was sort of tailored for the school that I wanted to get into, which is why I was able to like ED, get in and be done with it, which was awesome.
Yeah, the hotel school is so specific, and you need to have that kind of hotel background when you apply. Tess, how about you? The summers leading up to applying to Cornell, what did you do? How did you hone your interests?
Yeah. So, okay, first of all, I'll emphasize that I didn't do anything going into 9th or 10th grade. And I think that this is like just important for younger kids to hear because I have a younger sister. She's in 10th grade at Harvard-Westlake right now. And I think that there's a lot of pressure on kids to start figuring out what they want to do early and everything. I did nothing. But throughout 10th grade, I realized that I was interested in international relations, something that I had been interested in for a long time, and specifically in China and East Asia. And so I that year I had written a paper in my history class on China, etc. So then that summer I applied to and got into a program through the State Department where we got basically a merit scholarship to study Mandarin in Taiwan, which was a really cool experience. I spent almost 8 weeks living with a host family in Taiwan and going to like intensive language study classes at a university there. And then, so I think that helped to definitely build my story because I did apply with the intention of doing China and Asia Pacific studies. And
So it
then,
seems like the moment you identified something, you went really deep.
yeah,
You
the
found
second,
an opportunity. That State Department opportunity is very prestigious and hard to get. So congratulations. I could see why that was very good to have on your application.
it's called NISLI, by the way, National Security Language Institute for Youth. I it's getting some of its funding dropped, but I think it still exists. So definitely a cool opportunity for anyone who is interested in languages. They offer 8 different languages in different countries, and I know kids at Harvard-Westlake who have done the Russian program, the Arabic program, etc. And then the next year I started taking Chinese classes at Harvard-Westlake.
So
I
only your junior year you started that.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
my junior year I started a new language. I was able to place into Chinese 2, having never taken Chinese before that summer because of the program. Like, it's absolutely amazing for preparing you for Chinese. I won't say that the Chinese classes at Harvard-Westlake really prepared me for college Chinese, which is one of the reasons I changed my major when I got here. Um, but it definitely helped to get me more exposed to the culture and everything like that. And then I again wrote my capstone paper that year on a topic relating to China and foreign affairs. And then that summer I had 2 um, sort of research-ish opportunities with a UCLA professor and a USC professor. Literally just cold emailed them with my resume, and definitely having NISLI, I think, helped a lot, kind of spoke for itself. One of them was the Chinese archaeology department at UCLA, and then the other one was a professor in the poli-sci department at USC, and she was focusing her research on Sino-Latin American relations. So I helped her pick sources, and then for the archaeology professor, I redid his website for him. So
So
every
it seems like, Tess, like, it seems like I'm hearing you really went very specific. You got a lot of different types of experience, but to your point, you don't have to freak out if you're not doing that starting at the end of 8th grade into 9th grade. So thank you. That's really, I think, very, very helpful. And how about you, Demi, for your summers?
I think I could be a good example for students who do less than what both Zion and Tess did. In terms of having like one focus throughout high school. I did many different things in different humanities related fields. I did like after sophomore year, I worked at Harvard Westlake and the like summer school as a counselor,
Mhm.
and I also volunteered. I started volunteering at the Huntington Museum, and I also did the like 2-week New York Times program on journalism. Like, not, it's just one of those programs that you go to have fun, basically. But um, then after junior year, I interned at a small architecture company in Los Angeles, and um, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do architecture actually, which would have been a much more difficult college at Cornell to get into than arts and sciences. Um, so
And then
yeah,
Demi, how did you find it? How did you find these opportunities during the summer or during the year? Because since you were tasting and a few different things, did Harvard Westlake help you? Can you help the
um,
students figure out how to go about doing that themselves?
yes, Mr. Franz actually helped me, and through Harvard Westlake Works, I would really recommend you talking to him sooner rather than later, um, just to figure out what you want to do during the summer. He can be very helpful. So, um,
Message.
yes, shout out to Mr. France. And otherwise, I just like Googled stuff. Like, I Googled what museums had programs for high schoolers, and I mean, like, that's also how I found like the New York Times thing. I did that with my sister, and I think like Yeah, just like you can search things up and find stuff. That's like a strong possibility. But Harvard-Westlake does have a good career program, obviously. And yeah, but yeah, I didn't really have a strong focus throughout high school. And so I was kind of indifferent regarding what major I wanted to apply to. I applied to all of the colleges on my Common App under different majors. So yeah. And then as for the Middle East Studies thing, I took the Middle East Studies class at Harvard-Westlake with Mr. Yarone, and that um lended an interest in me with the whole Middle East thing. But I did that in senior year, so in terms of the application timeline, that was like I'd only been in the class for like 2 months before I decided to like apply to Cornell with art history and Near Eastern Studies. But so it was kind of a whim. And then obviously I took up Arabic in my first year at Cornell, and I'd never done it before. Also kind of on a whim. I thought it would be an easy language to take. Strangely enough, that was my reasoning. But um, as Tess mentioned, the languages at Cornell are all pretty intensive and difficult. Unfortunately, there will be no easy language for you to take, and I think you should be aware that there is a requirement to take 3 semesters of a language at Cornell. You cannot bypass that with AP scores and testing. Um, I think even if you're a heritage speaker, you have to take at least 1 semester, so you
Mhm.
should definitely be mindful of that. That is for arts and sciences specifically, though.
Great. So
Yeah.
Demi, let's, since we want to cover a few other things, I'd love to hear thank you for summarizing your kind of everyone's experiences, summers, that's really helpful. Let's talk about life on campus at Cornell and the transitions from being big city LA to not as big town Ithaca, upstate New York. Tess, since you're the freshman of the group, do you want to tell us a little bit about that transition? How is campus life? How is diversity in your classes? How is diversity on campus? Tell us a little bit about the vibe at Cornell.
Yeah, so this is actually an interesting one for me because when I first started my college process, I had no idea where I wanted to go to school. I just knew that I wanted to be in a city, like a big city. I was mostly looking at New York City, and Boston, DC, um, anywhere but LA pretty much. Um, so I definitely wanted like the comfort of a city. The second I stepped onto Cornell's campus, um, my parents made me tour. Um, I was like, whoa, this is really cool. This is basically a city in and of itself. Um, we have full on like fine dining restaurants on campus, cafes everywhere. Um, there's like the residential area itself basically feels like a little town of some sort. And there's so many different kinds of people learning different things. That's part of Cornell's mission statement. So it really just feels like its own little city. So even though there's not much in Ithaca, though there is some stuff. I went to Apple Fest last weekend. I'm going to a
You
restaurant.
mean like apples, like apple picking, not Apple the computer?
Yeah, Apple like apple picking, but
Yeah.
they bring out local vendors and stuff like that, which is cool. And like there, if you visit Ithaca, you'll see that there is stuff there. I'm going to dinner in College Town, which is right outside of um the campus with my friends tonight. So like there is stuff here, just not as much as you might be used to in LA.
And so Zion, for you, the nightlife impresario, how does that life in Ithaca feel for you?
Well, I
You're
was,
supposed to say the party goes wherever I go. I think that's your
uh,
answer.
I
But
mean, I try my best. I do try my best, but Ithaca, it's a different beast, I think. But I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here. I think that's what I've really learned. It's all about perspective. And sometimes you just kind of have to take a step back and realize not everything in your life is supposed to be good. and you're not supposed to be like happy all of the time.
Mm.
I'm not saying that I'm unhappy here or that it's not good, but I think that there's something important to learn about like being from LA and living the life that we all did and like going to Harvard-Westlake and being able to like walk down your like school and go to like Erewhon or go to like Sugarfish, go to like Wovo or get like an Australian Wagyu burger, you know what I mean, from High Health. You're living a really nice life. You're close to the beach. There's like the coolest concerts. Like there's so much fun and so much opportunity. And then coming to Ithaca and you kind of lose that. It's definitely like an adjustment. But I think
Mhm.
it's important to make that adjustment, especially now when you're young, because then you get to learn like what really matters to you, what you truly appreciate, what you look for in a friend,
Mhm.
what type
So
of
great.
friendships do you want to cultivate. And I think that coming in here as a sophomore now with that sort of perspective, it's sort of changed what I want. I mean, obviously, it's hard to not like look around at what your friends are doing either at school or at other schools, and you see like their lives, and you're like, holy, like at least seems like they're having like the time of their life. But I think also important to like have a different experience, and that's kind of the scope that I've taken from this.
I appreciate that honesty. I think that's wonderful for everyone to hear and very insightful for our audience. Demi, I'm curious for you. I think something to bring up is Greek life. Did you ever consider Greek life? Is that something that you're aware of? I know that that made the campus smaller for me when I was at Cornell. I'd love to hear your thoughts about life on campus.
Sure. I am in Greek life. I am a big fan of Greek life at Cornell. I think that, yeah, as you said, it definitely makes the campus smaller, and I would be aware as a student in high school, that Cornell has Greek life is pretty big. I think there's 1/3 of students at Cornell who are in Greek life. That being said, those numbers have decreased. It used to be a little bit higher, a little closer to one half,
Mhm.
maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. Um, yeah, Greek life is pretty big. That's probably one of the main, if not the main, like nightlife scene at Cornell. And yeah, there's no clubs in Ithaca. There's no not really. There's two bars. Actually, there's a few more, but those are like for townies and locals, so you're not really gonna go there as much. Um, but yeah, so it's not quite like what you all may be used to. Um, so yeah, Greek life is a big thing here, and I think you should try and research the social scene of different schools before you apply to them. I'm sure you are right now, but I guess I didn't really when I was applying, I wasn't really sure like what I wanted. I didn't really know.
Did you visit campus?
Yes, I did visit campus in my senior year in fall break, and I was a little bit out of touch growing up. I hadn't really been to like small towns before. I thought Ithaca was um bad and I didn't like it. And yeah, I was a little bit yeah, I didn't like it, but it's like not that bad. It's fine. Like there's like Tess said, there's a lot. I mean, it's a charming town. And it's a very pretty town. It's one of the actually the nicest towns in upstate New York. Um, it's definitely there's like nice neighborhoods and um pleasant communities here. I mean, yeah, there's like the Ithaca Commons, which has like a lot of different restaurants and um yeah, I mean, it is a small town though. So if you're like, oh, I need to be going out to like a club or a bar, I want to like have all these cool restaurants, or I want to have like, concerts that are accessible and just,
Have you made any trips to New York City from Cornell? Because I remember when I went, once again, we'd always do road trips into the city. So at that age, never 5 hour drive doesn't, or 4 hour drive doesn't feel that bad. And I remember really enjoying New York City a lot while I was there. Any of you guys do any road trips to make the kind of removal of Ithaca from a big city a little less feel that a little less?
Yeah, I went twice last year, and I'm actually going to go for fall break.
Fantastic. I want to flip the switch a little bit. Let's talk about, for the students watching, if you wouldn't mind sharing, what did you write about in your college application to really draw the interests of admissions officers? Any interesting angles or anecdotes that you think were helpful in your admissions process? Tess, do you want to start?
Sure. So for the College of Arts and Sciences, there were 3 essays that you had to write. So there's the personal statement that you send to every school that's on the Common App. And then there were 2 that were specific to the College of Arts and Sciences. One was one kind of about curiosity and like different subjects you enjoy. And then one was about diversity, sort of, and like communities that you feel home in. So I guess I'll start with the Common App. I wrote about a memory that I have from when I was 4 or 5. My dad used to let my mom sleep in, and he would like play old music and make us croissants. So I kind of described that in detail. And then I guess through that experience, I gained a certain appreciation for like the music that he listened to growing up. And so I tied it into, you can see from my sweatshirt, I led HW Inc. at Harvard-Westlake. Which is the entrepreneurship intensive. And I led it my senior year as well. I was involved all 4 years of high school. So I kind of tied in how I helped to change the curriculum. And it was kind of just weaving like how I came to terms with keeping old things and like appreciating them while moving forward and innovating. And then my sort of curiosity essay was, I focused in on 3 moments, which was kind of a different structure than a lot of people use for this kind of essay. But I thought that there were 3 aspects of Cornell that were intriguing to me. And so I started with just an overall like yearning to go into policy and politics. Cornell has a really cool program where you get to go to DC for a semester. And so I focused it on a moment when I was in DC, and I basically said, this is where I want to live someday. And so that was like one of the parts, and then the second part was about the Levinson China program. And I picked a moment from when I was in Taiwan. And then
And it seems like you basically dropped yourself in that program instead of describing the classes or something like that, but as if you were already there.
Yeah, exactly. I mentioned a professor. That's a good thing to do in an essay like that. They want to know that you've actually done your research, but yeah, pretty much. And then there was one more moment in there, and then I talked about the Jewish community for the community essay.
Wonderful. And Zion, how about you?
My essay, it was so long ago. Let me think. I compared my life to lasagna because lasagna is my favorite food. And I kind of, what I did was I picked 3 different anecdotes about my life that taught me like important lessons in hospitality and sort of layered them throughout the essay. And then like the beginning was sort of like an intro, and the ending was a hook, and it sort of talked about like different stories that fostered my love for like taking care of people or food. And that was the main essay, like the 600 or 550 word one. And then for the short essay, I talked about being editor-in-chief of the yearbook and kind of what like how it was a goal of mine for a long time, and what it kind of took to get there. And then once I created the book, like what I wanted to do that made it special. So, like I don't know how Tess's yearbook ended up, but I hope it was good. But for ours, I made like every senior's yearbook have their name in it. like embossed in gold because I was like, I feel like it should be more personalized, especially because it's all of our like last year books. And I feel
So
like
that was the community essay, if you
was it
understanding correctly?
you one?
The essays are different for each of the colleges.
Okay,
Mine were just for the College of Arts and Sciences, so
got
Demi
it.
have the same ones as me.
Yeah, no, that was for the community one, the any person, any study one, because that one is the same for everybody. There's one that's the same for everyone and one that's school specific. And yeah, I talked about like the community, and then I talked about how like doing yearbook was like a way to like represent the entire community and stuff like that, and like different initiatives that I did. Like that one was sort of the boring one that would like talked about like school and like school feats, and then the other one was just like really fun and really different. Like I did the whole essay like writing thing with the Harvard-Westlake people over the summer and did that whole like grind thing, like talking to adults about my essay. And then the day before I applied to Cornell, I was like, I actually hate my essay. This has nothing to do with me. And I rewrote the whole thing like 3 hours before.
Oh my gosh.
That
Yeah.
was the one that I submitted. And I just didn't tell anybody. And I was like, yeah, whatever happens, happens.
You just went for it.
Yeah, and I guess it did work out because it was a really fun, like I wanted to make all my essays fun. I think that's sort of what I did. Like there was one essay that I wrote for a different school. I talked about like Paddington and like how he went to prison, and like it was I wrote a lot of really weird and really fun essays. And I think that's sort of how I did so well with school because I was like, okay, if my grades aren't going to be that. Actually, my grades are pretty good towards the end of it all. But I don't know.
I think the lesson there is just always be yourself, be authentic, and whatever that might be. And for you, it's humor, and for someone else, it could be, much more focused on like a memory or something, just very personal. So I think would you guys agree that that's like you just have to be so truly yourself because they read so many of these things? Demi, how about you? I'm curious to hear what your essay was about.
Sure. I didn't do anything avant-garde with my essays. I pretty much followed the slideshows that the deans posted, whatever the like,
Mhm.
whenever there's someone to speak about, what do you put in your essay? I kind of just like followed that, even though they don't really have guidelines, but I didn't do anything that was super um innovative and or creative.
Did you feel that it was reflective of you, truly reflective of you?
Sometimes. I
That's
think my
honest.
first kind of depended on the essay. I wrote a lot of junk, to be quite honest.
Mhm.
But my personal essay I spent the most time on, and that one was like an introspective thing about my psychology and my personality and my like relation to others. Yeah, maybe that one was the most, that was definitely the most
Revealing.
unique out of all of them. And yeah, obviously I took the word personal and personal statement and really just honed in on that. Yeah, it was a very introspective
That's
piece.
a really nice contrast in terms of how you can still be quiet and be just, once again, just being yourself. That's exactly who you are. Let me ask you guys, Quasi, how are we doing on time? I just want to make sure that I'm keeping up on time here.
Was literally about to chime in, Preet, about 10 minutes.
Okay, great.
And
I think
there's nobody in the audience, so you all can continue the conversation.
okay, great. I'm sure many will be watching on recording. I think one of the
Yeah.
things that would be helpful is how did Harvard-Westlake prepare you guys for Cornell? What do you think you could have done differently to be prepared for Cornell while at Harvard-Westlake? One of the examples I can give you, or I can think about, is being able to have relationships and conversations with your teachers at Harvard-Westlake. That's a very big plus, and it's an advantage, and it's a feature of Harvard-Westlake. Did you carry that into Cornell? Can you tell us a little bit about the transition and the skills you learned at Harvard-Westlake that you took to Cornell? Tess, do you want to go since it's the next?
Yeah, sure. So, in terms of more like hard academic skills, I definitely think that the Harvard-Westlake writing really carries over.
Mhm.
As frustrated as I was the entirety of high school with English classes, in full honesty, I did not get an A on a single English essay at Harvard-Westlake ever. Like
Mm.
literally never. Um, which is it got frustrating at a certain point because I was like, I meet with my teachers all the time. I don't understand why I can't get better. But the thing is, the Harvard-Westlake teachers keep upping their expectations, and that's why it seems like you're not getting better, but you actually are. And so when I came here, there's a mandatory year writing seminar class.
Mhm.
The College of Arts and Sciences actually is 2. I was able to get out of one of the 2 by taking the AP English tests. But I think the second I entered, I realized how well prepared we were, because at Harvard-Westlake, you'll sit down and you'll have to write an intro paragraph and 2 body paragraphs in 50 minutes, and they expect it to be perfect and your arguments perfectly thought out and everything. And here we got 50 minutes to, he was like, just analyze a couple things in the writing. So I think that definitely prepares you really well. And then in terms of other things, I just think like Harvard-Westlake time management and just confidence overall. Like I feel like you enter college feeling very confident that
Mhm.
like you are prepared to take this on, and I think just like the confidence in itself goes a long way. In terms of things that I wasn't prepared for, I think definitely the languages. Like that's, and I don't think there's anything else you can really do for that. But I ended up changing my language to French. It's still difficult, but not quite as difficult as the Chinese classes. And I also will add that I am getting out of the 3-semester thing because of my AP score. Because because of my AP score, I placed into intermediate French. So I only have to take it for 1 semester. So that's definitely nice. If you can get the AP score, take it. It'll help you like down the road.
That's great advice. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think a lot of people will want to be taking that AP test to get out of that, it sounds
all
like.
the AP tests everyone wanted to be checked out at the end of senior year, and in some ways I was, but take all the AP tests you possibly can, because I know that some schools are moving away from it a little bit, but it does actually still help a little.
So Cornell has not moved away from it, as far as you know.
Who hasn't?
I said, so Cornell has not moved away from
Not
accepting.
not entirely. I don't think it was necessarily a factor in me getting into Cornell, but I think it helps like once you get here.
That's what I mean, yeah. Great. Okay, how about you, Demi?
I want to put a quick asterisk to what Tess said about the languages, because what I said earlier might sound contradictory. Basically, I took AP Spanish language in high school, and that doesn't immediately carry over. You still have to take a placement test, and I did not want to do that, so I just started a new language. Anyways, yeah, I happened to really fall in love with it, so now it's my minor. But
What was
anyway,
the new language again? Was it Arabic?
Arabic, yes.
Okay.
So yeah, languages are hard. They meet every day pretty much, 4 days a week. So yeah, but it's not too bad. I mean, I think Harvard-Westlake education will, lend you a lot of just work ethic skills that you're going to realize are superior to those of some of your peers. Of course, like that shouldn't make you like arrogant or anything, but I think you'll just realize like in the FWS or something, or in any class really, you already have a lot of really good study skills and just work ethic and discipline from high school. And I've spoken about that with other Harvard-Westlake students here and at other colleges. So that is a big bonus, and that helps a lot with the academic side, and gives you more time to do other things. So
And then let me get to Zion as well. So Zion, lastly, thank you, Demi, for that. That really is helpful. Zion, how about in terms of faculty and having met probably, I'm hoping, pretty regularly with your Harvard-Westlake teachers? Did that help at Cornell in the hotel school?
I would say that
I just
Harvard-West,
took a leap of faith. I'm not sure if you did.
I mean, I'd echo what
Yeah.
Tess said. Harvard-Westlake helps very much so with like writing. Everything writing related is pretty easy here. Plays also with like projects, presentations, slides, public speaking. Harvard-Westlake does great with. But specifically for the hotel school, the fact that it's a business school, I'd say a lot of the skills don't translate as well, but that's also because it's completely different stuff. Like there's no Excel modeling at Harvard-Westlake, so of course it's going to be like I'm learning everything like new, but also all of my peers are as well. Like when I'm taking finance or financial accounting, it's like there's no balance sheet, income statement. There's not that type of math at school. So as far as that goes, it's new and it's also hard. Maybe I was just an exception, but when I was at Harvard West, like I took a lot of classes that didn't have tests. I was kind of strategic about that, but I don't know whether it's just the school itself has shifted, but learning how to take tests again has been something that I'd say is very difficult. And also Harvard Westlake tries to balance tests with like homeworks and projects and quizzes and all these different things. But I have a few classes where you take 3 tests, then 2 of them are worth like 20%, one of them's worth 60%, or 3 tests and all of them are worth 33%. So it's classes like those that really stress you out, especially when you have trouble test taking. And Harvard also tries to make accommodations, but there's like really no such thing as an accommodation in college. So
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think lends a lot of insight into the things to think about when you're choosing a college and why Cornell is a fit. Quasi, I think we're all wrapped up in time. I want to respect your guys' time. Demi, you're amazing. Tess, it's fantastic to hear from all of you. Zion, thank you so much for your time. I think we've got a lot of different perspectives and approaches. And I think I might be coming to Cornell in the fall to visit and would love to see you guys. I'm so happy for all of you, and you're just such bright stars from Harvard-Westlake back east. So thanks so much for your time. Quasi, do you want to close it out?
Yeah, thank you all so much for lending your time. Pretha, you were a superstar as usual, carrying the conversation. Tess, Demi, Zion, thank you for providing your insight. As a Quaker who used to go to Cornell for Slope Day almost every spring, I'm surprised there was no Slope Day talk, but that's neither here nor there. We're keeping it straight and narrow on the fairway. Thanks again. This will be in the HW Works YouTube channel. It'll also be on the platform in the resources section under HW Alumni at. Everybody enjoy your Wednesday. Thanks again, Cornell panelists.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.